What's up, guys? Jarret McAllister here, the virtual solar pro, and we have a special training with you today on Power Hitters Training with Mr. Spenser Rosen from ENPHASE. Spenser, what's up, my man? How are you doing, brother?
Good to see you, Jarret, as always.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, we wanted to get this training in due to special circumstances that are coming up here soon. What do you have going on in your life?
Well, you and I have something in common. We are me and you are girl dads, right?
We are girl dads.
Let's see. Oh, my background. Here's my two
Oh,
little girls. This is Lila, and this is Ellie. Here's another really amazing picture of them too. They're just so amazing. And they're gonna have a little sister. So I have girl number 3. I must have done something right to deserve so much love from so many amazing women. Their little sister's coming soon. We don't know. My wife is 9 months pregnant, basically, so it could be next week. And I wanted to make sure to, after Power World, connect with you guys. I got 27 minutes. You guys know how I roll. I'm going to drop as many value add nuggets for you guys over the next 27 minutes. I actually have my office hours coming at 11:30. So if you're like, oh, I want more questions, you can just jump onto that link, which I'll share. So,
man. And real quick, I just got to
yeah.
share something with everyone since we're sharing, pictures. Yeah, you and I are both girl dads. I have 3. You're about to have your 3rd. When we were talking about this, I sent you this picture, and I don't know if you guys can see this one, but we went out fishing on Saturday. But if you zoom in, you can actually see I got an ENPHASE Realtree camo hat on. I don't know if you guys can see that picture, but pretty cool to share that with you. I was stoked to get that hat at Power World. That was like my favorite giveaway.
Represent. That one went fast. That one went pretty fast. So you grabbed one of the good ones.
Yeah, I had to special request that one. So
and
go ahead, man. Jump on into this. What do you got?
Yeah. So let's start off with some sales ninja information here. You guys may already do this. I actually talked to an installer yesterday about this, and they said, yeah, we're already actually achieving good referrals. I'm like, oh, you're achieving good referrals. I'm like, I have a tip that you can use right now. And he's like, he heard my tip and he's like, yep, that's what we're doing. That's basically what we're doing. So this is validated through the tip of somebody who's being successful. And I had this insight, I don't know, a month or 2 ago. We were talking about the industry and the contraction of the industry after the changes that have happened, and how it is more challenging than it was in February. And so we're like, look, why are the referrals not as flow motion as they were before? And the insight we had is, think about if you're selling in California, and I'm mostly talking about the people who are selling in California, but of course this is nationwide too. But think about somebody who got in under NEM 2.0. What did they get in under? They got in under the world of solar is ending, get in now or you're hosed, right? That's the way they were thinking come March or April. So if they get in under that world, right, how likely are they going to be to go to their neighbor and be like, hey, look, you should go solar too. I got the good program. It kind of sucks now, but you should still go, right? So, it's really important to understand that is the mentality of your core referring customer today. So how do we unwind that as an industry, right? Because you want to start unwinding that to regenerate referrals. Of course, the new NEM 3.0 customers that have a battery now are going to have a great experience. They're going to start referring, but we don't want to wait another 3 to 6 months to get that fully up to speed. We want as many referrals as we can get now. So what I would recommend is, as you connect with existing customers, to make sure to kind of update them. What kind of update would I give them if I was my customer? I would say, look, hey, I just want to let you know that, although you definitely got into the best program and you guys are getting the best savings, the new program actually turned out that it's not that bad. It's actually pretty good. And what we have is we got some really aggressive battery pricing right now, which is amazing. The pricing on battery came down. And so, if you ever wanted to go back up in the future, we definitely have more aggressive battery pricing. And for anybody who wants to go solar today with batteries, we actually have this great deal where they can avoid some of the savings. They can get some of the savings that you got, almost as good, right? Not as good as you, but almost as good with the new pricing we got from batteries. So I would encourage you to have some kind of conversation. Don't take for granted that their minds are already thinking about what just tell them the truth. Look, we got the best program, but I wanted to make sure you knew the program's still really good, right? For your friends and family, and they're really aggressive battery pricing. So if you have 10, 15, 20, 30 customers right? And you're talking to them, connecting with them as they go through system commissioning, try to unwind that, try to repump that referral pipeline as, as is beneficial for them, because they want to share, make a difference in the world. And so will the new customers want access to what is still a rad program in California with, 82-cent energy costs that we're offsetting, super cost-effective batteries, amazing financing solutions. So that's my nugget of wisdom to start the call. From there, I wanted to just drive into a new product, right? I introduced it at Power World, but it was, I kind of touched on it. Who came to one of my master classes? Raise your hand if you were in one of the master classes. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to share a couple basic distinctions, couple basic principles that I shared there as it relates to storage, because I think they're really, really important to understand. And then we're going to talk about the new product, right? So the new product is our new battery. This battery is built upon the foundation of everything we learned from our first, second, and third generation battery. This is actually our fourth generation battery. And, it's part of the ENPHASE ecosystem, right? It's part of the whole home ecosystem, microinverters, batteries, now EV chargers, one software platform, all under one roof. Warranted by the leading home energy technology brand in the industry, period. You could say Tesla's the leading, brand, but they lead on EV chargers. I'm sorry, on EVs, not on solar, right? They're kind of fringe on solar. So we got this new battery. What are the main benefits? So here's the main benefits. I'm just going to list them off. We got more power. We got faster, more reliable communication, more flexibility for you can put equipment on a homeowner's site. You got a 5 kWh building block. Why does this matter? Well, think of it like Legos. You don't want to have a huge Lego to fit every customer. You want to be able to customize the right solution for the right customer. Instead of going from 13 to 26, right? You get to go from 10 to 15 or 15 to 20, right? You're going to get a better value proposition, more cost-effective solution for customers. And then, of course, boom, we got a 15-year leading industry warranty, right? Which is amazing, right? It's just a better warranty than any other product in the marketplace. Okay, the profile's pretty slick, 2 feet wide, a little bit, almost 3 feet tall. You're fitting 2 of these vertically on a wall. You can put a quad. If you only have about 4 or 5 feet of wall space, you can get 20 kWh on one wall, right? With 4 or 5 feet, right? Too high. Very, very flexible product. And we got more
power. Is that
power
only
now.
7.5 inches deep?
Yep. Super thin.
Wow.
Super flush.
That is.
Super slick. I'll show photos at the end. So if you don't understand the difference between power and energy, then I wouldn't, I don't think you've made it as a solar professional until you understand this difference, right? This is fundamental. This is core. This is the basics. This is how you understand how to design systems. Power and energy, they are different, right? Energy, I gave the analogy during the training, is like how much water I have in this water bottle, right? It's capacity, it's storage, it's the size of the battery. If I say 10 kWh, that's energy. How much can I hold? How much can I discharge, right? That is energy. Power is like the size of this cap, how big it is. How big is the straw in here? If the straw is bigger, I can get water out faster, right? And so when you talk about power, when it comes to batteries, what you're really talking about is how many loads you can run simultaneously, how fast you can charge and discharge your battery. Why does that matter? We're going to talk about that in 2 different contexts. And the 2 contexts we're going to talk about it is in terms of savings and backup. Now, I talked about this at the masterclass. You got to understand what batteries are for. If homeowners throw you like, hey, what do you want batteries for? And they go, I want to be energy independent. Well, that's not very actionable. That doesn't really connect, right, with something meaningful. It's kind of abstract, right? Oh, I want to have freedom from the utility. Okay, cool, right? Nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't like make it wrong. I'd still kind of get, oh, that's awesome to have freedom from the utility. What does that mean to you, right? What does that mean to your family? And the 2 things it really means is batteries provide savings. They save you money. Now, in California, batteries can save you money. How do they save you money? Well, they allow you to buy low, sell high. How can you buy low, sell high? Well, you're buying your own solar energy, right? Instead of buying from the grid, you're buying your own solar energy. You're putting in a battery. right, from yourself. Solar is the cheapest form of electricity you can buy. If you amortize the cost of a system, it's like 12 cents per kilowatt hour. That's amazing compared to almost any rate in the US, right? So you buy your own energy low and you sell high. Who do you sell to? You sell to yourself. You sell to yourself from the battery because you're offsetting costs that would be 82 cents or 60 cents or 50 cents. So you're selling energy from your own battery to yourself. So batteries save you money in California and in many other markets today through doing this fancy thing called self-consumption. It really just means buying energy low, putting it in your battery, storing it for later, using it when energy is expensive. Okay, so they save you money, and batteries can also keep the lights on. They can provide backup power. They can provide, resilience, some people call it, right? But you want to think of those as two very, very concrete things to the homeowner that matter to them, that matter to their families, that make a difference for their day-to-day living, right? You want to connect with those at a very, very fundamental level. You don't want to think about it like, oh, freedom from the utility. People don't walk around and say, yeah, I really want freedom from the utility. No. They're thinking about money. They're thinking about security for their family, money, safety for their family. Those are the big things, right? That's what matters to somebody. If I ask Jarret, hey, how much do you care about freedom from the utility? He'll say, yeah. How much do you care about, your finances for your family, the money for your family? Boom, right there. That matters to him in his heart. How about the security for your girls? Boom, right? Forget about freedom from utility, energy independence, security for your family. Bam, right in his center. It's a totally different level, right? Completely different level. So you want to make sure you understand that batteries provide savings, they save you money, and they provide backup power. And those things are very, very concrete. And when you think about a system that has more power, it does two very important things. The first thing it does, and I invite you to screenshot this, is it provides power to start larger appliances during a blackout. So we talk about backup power. You can start more, you can run more, you can power more things at the same time, right? This is backup power. Compared to the other competitors, there's no comparison. This is 10 kWh of ours, and it beats every other main product on the marketplace. I put yours on the platform. This is what you have available. More powerful with less kWh. You take something that's a little closer, 15 kWh, and it's like, a layover, right? They just lay down, right? I love Jarret earlier. They can't win. The specs just aren't there. The specification, you can't win it. If you're actually talking about ENPHASE, you can't win because you get more power, you got better warranty, better chemistry, customer service team with 300. Actually, I think we have up to 1,000 people now in Boise, Idaho, same state as Jarret lives in, right? You just got a more solid foundation to build from, right? So you got more power for backup. And this means you can start larger loads with less batteries. With only 15 kWh of ENPHASE, you can start 4 and 5 ton air conditioners. 5 ton air conditionings with only 15 kWh. You need 27 kWh of other products to do that. Right?
Quick question, Spenser, if you don't mind.
Go.
On the previous slide, you mentioned it said 3 units. I know, like on a previous 10 kWh battery, it was 3.36 batteries. Is that saying it's 3 5 kilowatt hour batteries make up a 15 kilowatt hour battery?
Yeah, correct. So great question. Before, the way we worked is we had 3 3s, and you could put 3 3s and 1 10, and that was like a case. So it was a little bit complicated. We just made it simple. Now we have a 5 kWh Lego. That's our building block. 5 kWh. You want 1, you go with 5. You want 2, you go with 2, right? 2 is 10, 3 is 15, 4 is 4, is 20, right? So you're building your systems 5 kWh at a time. And we think that's a really nice balance. The math is easy, it's clean, it's small enough that you can get the kind of granularity you want for your customer, right? So you're not, like I said, going from 13 to 27, right? You can go from 10 to 15 to 20 if you want, which might make more sense for your customer, but it's big enough that each 5 kWh is meaningful. And with the more power that we have, so we go back to here for a second, every 5 now is actually equivalent in power to what a 10 was before. So a 5 is now supporting 20 amps. And this is my favorite slide just for practicality. When people really want to understand practicality, here's the way it works. When you put a 5 on the system for backup, you're supporting 20 amp circuits. I recommend you screenshot this, right? You're supporting 20 amp circuits. When you put 2 5s, you're supporting 40 amp circuits. And 3 5s, you're supporting up to 60 amp circuits, right? And really, in most homes, you're not going to have a load that's larger than 60 amps. 97% of homes have 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 amp circuits, 60 amp circuits, not higher than that. They may have a 100 amp breaker for a sub panel, but that's not a 100 amp circuit. That's just powering a sub panel that has a whole bunch of smaller circuits on it. So the summary is 15 kWh. Now, I said this on the mentor call yesterday, 15 kWh. Why is that the magic number? Well, because almost all homes have circuits that are 60 amps and less. You can now install a whole home backup system with 15 kWh.
Incredible, man. That's awesome. And then my follow-up to that is, are we still doing 4 IQ8 inverters per battery?
Yeah, good question. It's actually more. In each battery now we have, I'll go back to here. We actually have 6 IQ8, 6 IQ8
per 5
inverters per 5. Right,
Okay.
which makes sense, right? If we had 4 per 3, now we have 6 for 5. So we had 12 before for 10, and now we still have 12. Here's the difference though, Jarret. The old microinverters were 320 watts each. These ones, if you see, they're actually bigger. They're like, wow, what? This is big. This is a bigger microinverter. This is a 640 watt microinverter. So double the power. This is a very powerful microinverter. So we have 640 watts times 6. That turns out to be 3,840 watts. So it's almost 4 kilowatts in one of these little 5s, right? It's super powerful. One of these 5s has 80% of the power as a 13 kWh Franklin, or as a 10 kWh Solar Edge, right? So it's a lot more power. There's one more point I wanted to make that was super important, which is I talked about whole home backup with 60 amps. Why is this so significant? What do you avoid when you do whole home backup? Anyone know? Tom, who was on the mentor call yesterday? What do you avoid when you do whole home backup?
MPU.
MPU. 100%. You do whole home backup, you avoid an MPU. You can talk to Chris Bunch, your VP of permitting. He will come 100% agree. You do whole home backup, you avoid an MPU. It's
Can
like,
you explain why that is?
yeah, it's a really simple phenomenon. The phenomenon is if you do whole home backup, you move all the loads into a backup load panel. Okay, I got all the most loads in the backup load panel. What does that do to the main panel? It turns the main panel into a bypass. Nothing's in the main panel anymore. Nothing's in the main panel. I put all the loads in a backup panel. Okay, so how much can I backfeed? I can backfeed everything. Why? Because I got nothing on the main panel. I don't have to worry about the main panel being overloaded because I have nothing there. Everything's downstream. Everything's on our backup system, and our system controls that. So on a 200 amp main service panel, you do whole home, you can get 200 amps of solar and batteries. 125 amp main service panel, do whole home backup, you can do 125 amps of solar and batteries with whole home backup. Now I could get even more technical, but does that kind of give you a sense of how it works, Jarret?
Yes, absolutely. That made a lot of sense. And
yeah,
I'm sure you're going to be on office hours once you get back from paternity leave, and can help explain that further. But
yeah,
that's incredible. That's a huge game changer, especially, we all know, hey, one of the things we love ENPHASE, a lot of MPUs, but now when you add a 5P battery, you're going to be avoiding that completely. So
yeah,
and so
it really is a configuration. Just to be very, there's another way we're going to avoid MPUs. I'm going to talk about that in 2 slides or 3 slides. But in this configuration, 15 kWh or more, you avoid an MPU, hands down. Now, there's the only scenario I could think of is if you have more than 200 amps of solar, which would be like a 200 amps of solar and storage, which would be like a humongous system. That would have to be humongous, but in 98% of the scenarios, you're going to avoid a main service upgrade because you go whole home backup. I'll explain that one more time because I'm going to get a little nerdy with you because you asked a really good question. Here's why you avoid a main service upgrade with whole home backup. When you do the 20% rule, there's a reason. The reason they have you do the 20% rule is because typically When you have a main service panel, right? The main breaker protects that panel. I have a 200 amp main breaker on a 200 amp panel. I'm protected. If the breakers I use, right? Let's say I use a lot more power than 200 amps. What will protect that panel? Well, the 200 amp breaker will throw. Because if I go to my main panel at my house right now, I add up each individual breaker, it's greater than 200, even though I have a 200 amp main breaker, right? It adds up to like 400 because I have like 50 and 20. And why do they do that? Well, you're not using them all at the same time. But that main breaker, just in case, if I happen to use more than 200 amps, that protects it, right? So that 200 amp breaker will protect that main panel. Okay, so why does whole home change this? Well, when you think about the standard, like solar 20% rule, what happens is now that main breaker can't protect that main panel. Why? Because you have two sources of power. You don't just have the 200 amps from the utility, you have solar too. So if you're using like 250 or 300, now you could have 200 coming from the utility plus another 50 or 60 or 70 or 80. Now you could overload that main panel. And so when we take all those breakers out of the main panel, we throw it in the backup panel, that main panel becomes a bypass. Our system just basically protects everything downstream, and we're not passing. There's no way we can get more than 200 amps on that 200 amp main service panel because we have 200 amps coming in, 200 amps coming out, kind of like a highway. We're just passing right by it. We're not having to worry about a main service upgrade. So 15 kWh or larger, backup systems, whole home backup, no MPU. Okay, so I want to really provide that super clear as a really effective strategy. So I talked about us being able to back up a whole home with only 15 kWh or more. You may want to go 20. 20 kWh is great too, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
And do we have the ability to sell just a 5 kilowatt hour battery?
Yeah, and if you want to, sell 5. It's a great entry point.
No, I'm saying if you want to get to just 20, let's say you didn't want to do two 15s, but 20 is the good number for the customer, then at that point we could do a 15 and a 5.
Yeah, so let me make this. I didn't answer your first question effectively. There's no 15.
I got you.
The 15 is 3 5s. So
is the casing, so are they just 5 kilowatt hour batteries that you're stacking, or is there
Correct.
a case like a 10 where it was 3 batteries in one casing? Do you guys have a 15 kWh casing?
Just 5 kWh. You can see on the bottom left here, here's 20, 5, 10, 15, 20.
Okay.
Here's another 20 side by side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 10, 2 5s next to each other. Here's 25, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 under the windows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here is another 25. Right. So a lot of people like this too, because sometimes when they have a big battery and there's code restrictions, it's like this one battery can't fit. Well, I've seen people take 2 5s, put them on either side of a window, and they're good. They have smaller Lego pieces. They can fit them in tighter spaces. You can see some of these are, maybe a foot apart. We now have a 3-inch clearance UL certification. So we can actually get them 3 inches close together.
Love it. Yeah. Okay. Like Tom said in the chat, they're like Lego blocks, 5 kWh Lego blocks. Stack those babies.
So I talked about backup. The other thing I want to emphasize is that
this is what I'm excited about, you guys. You guys pay attention to this, because this is why you're going to be selling these batteries. This is going to be your competitive advantage. And this is how you're going to be overcoming the true up and so forth. So Spencer, take it away.
Yeah, this is huge, right? People talk about NEM 3.0 like it's the worst thing ever. Well, it's not. For the first time ever, homeowners can participate in selling power to the wholesale utility market. They're selling power. They're dumping the battery, and they're getting $3 per kilowatt hour in some AHJs, in some utilities. $2.90, $3.10, depending on weekend and weekdays. It's as high as $3. So we're going to dump the battery to the grid, right, during these peak periods, and they're going to get a lot of extra money. And because that increased power, right, because we have more power, imagine an air conditioning is pulling 5 kilowatts at 7 p.m. in the summer, or 6 p.m. during this like key period. You're not going to tell your homeowners to turn off your air conditioning in the middle of September when it's hot. No. They're going to use what they're going to use. The problem is, any of these other batteries, it's going to go to the homeowner's loads. There's not going to be any extra. So all of the power is going to go right to the home. There's no extra. With ENPHASE, we can discharge that battery so quickly that you can serve that 5 kW and get another 7 back. People say, oh, it's not that much money. It's only, only a couple days a year. No. It's every night for the whole month in these high payment months, $7, right? Sorry, 7 kilowatts, say 6.5 kilowatts times $3 is $20 per day times 30 days in a month is $600 per year. $600 per year extra for homeowner value in terms of offset. That's huge. That's a big improvement. That's 5 to 10% additional savings you're going to get because you're getting all this extra power. So power matters for backup. Power matters for savings. You give your customer a more powerful battery, they're going to save more money over time. That's almost all I have for you. In the last 3 minutes, I want to talk to you about one other important thing. We talked about batteries being used for savings and backup. One of the things I love about Everbright is Everbright was one of the first companies who said, you know what? This energy savings thing, where we're not doing backup and rewiring all these loads and talking about, resilience and just focusing on savings, it actually makes a lot of sense. We'll finance that for you. Sonova originally said they weren't. Now I just heard maybe they will be, right? So they were kind of a little late to the game. Everbright was all in. They were like, we'll finance a grid-tied battery. We'll finance a battery without backup all day. Why? It's going to save the customer more money. That's a great solution to the homeowner. So, you got to work with your homeowners to figure out, hey, what matters to them? Do they care about savings primarily, or do they care about backup? Right? If they care about savings and they don't really care about backup, give them savings, right? You may want to make sure they know they're not getting backup. Hey, I just want to make sure you're not, backup's not important to you. I went through this really detailed in the masterclass, but basically you want to set expectations, but at the same time, give them what they care about. And so, ENPHASE was one of the first companies to introduce a battery with no backup. We introduced it at one of the last power events before SolarEdge, Tesla, Franklin were talking about it. They caught up to ENPHASE. We've been doing this for years in Germany and Australia. And so you go, okay, well, I like that, but what about those MPUs? Those MPUs suck, right? Everyone has been, talking about how ENPHASE, you can't, have to do MPUs. Well, we are very, very close. We're going through UL testing right now on something called power control systems. And what power control systems are going to do is they're going to say, look, instead of adding the batteries plus the solar in our backfeed, just have our software make sure that both of these aren't ever overloading the main service panel. Just have our software say, look, solar is almost never discharging at the same time as batteries. Typically, solar is coming out in the morning, you're charging the battery, right? And then sun goes down and now you're running from the battery. So if we're never really discharging to the main panel at the whole time, same time, why do we count them both? So let's just have our software make sure that we protect the main service panel. And you could technically, you could sell it right now this way without a main service upgrade, as long as the install is going to happen after, I'd say anytime after October 15th, you should be fine. But I'm going to give you a official announcement when we have full PCS for grid tied batteries. So you're not going to, it'll be just like selling solar before, right? And there's some enhancements too, where you can actually oversize PV more and avoid an MPU. I know we're at 11:30, tried to drop a lot of nuggets in this training. Really appreciate the FaceTime, Jarret, especially when I got this pending addition to the family. I love you guys. I think you've got such an awesome community. I love your leadership. Appreciate you, Tom. You guys are just awesome, super high integrity, all about the people. Thank you for the time. I'll send these slides out to you, Jarret, so you can post them or share them. And yeah, if you want to jump on the office hours, going to jump on over there in a minute here. And again, appreciate your time and the support and the partnership.
Right on. Thank you so much, Spencer. I know you got to jump. That was a lot of information. We all super appreciate you. You guys show Spencer some love in the chat. That was incredible. Dropping fire, straight bombs, man. Once again, super appreciate you, and best of luck to your wife.
Thank
and
you.
Too. Yeah.
Thank you. Best to your family, Jarret.
Sounds good. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this recording in office hours. I'll stick around for a little bit. I know we went long. If you guys have any questions, but yeah, that was great. So wrapping this up right now.